church, they were being persecuted. They were told not to preach again. Just like the Senate of Nigeria, Federal Republic, and they are telling them not to preach in bus. Make all the stadium in Nigeria to become a prison. If we want to enforce that law, we are coming. But we break that law. Our master told us to go into the world and preach the gospel to every creature. You sit somewhere there and you're saying we shouldn't preach in buses. We will preach in buses. We will preach everywhere because you are evil, making evil decrease. Evil. We will rather obey God than man. That's what our fathers told them in those days. You better tell them. No Pentecostal must listen to that. And the national president, Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria, I lead over 65 million people. Everybody go into every taxi, go into every bus and preach. Let them arrest us. Let them turn National Stadium Lagos into prison. I will come there. Let them turn National Stadium Abuja into prison. I'll come there. Let them build more prison. They will be the one that will go there and they will rot there. And God will judge them. You don't go after killers. You don't go after those that are beheading. You don't go after rapists. You don't go after kidnappers. You don't go after bandits who are unlawfully carrying arms. You are not going after them. You are going after us who are preaching the gospel of peace that have changed the lives of people. We won't listen to you. You are not God.
Well, Bishop Waloke, the national president of the Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria, joins us live on the program from the ancient city of Ibadan. Bishop, great to see you this morning. How are you?
I'm very blessed. Good morning, my precious people in channels. Thank you for bringing me on again. Thank you so very much. May God bless you. Amen. And good morning to all the viewers across Nigeria and across the globe. God bless you all in Jesus' name. Thank you for bringing me on.
Thank you so much, Bishop. I mean, that's why it's good to have the Bishop early in the morning like this to make declarations into the atmosphere. Bishop, has your position changed yet about the comments you made to your church members and to members of the PFN as regards go into the world and preach the gospel? We will break the law, Bishop.
Now, we will rather obey God than man. Preaching the gospel everywhere is fundamental to the Christian faith. Everyone that is a Christian today is because he or she had the gospel preached to them and then they made a decision to follow Christ. So if anybody or any group of people is dealing with that, they're dealing with something that is fundamental to the church. And even the process by which they come to make that bill is faulty. If you're dealing with something of public interest, you invite the stakeholders to participate and to hear the view. Not that you are past it and you are presenting it to Mr. President for endorsement and then we're hearing of it. No, that's very, very insensitive. Now, before going on with that, the Constitution of Nigeria guarantees freedom of religion, freedom of speech to every Nigerian. And by our Constitution, the Nigerian state is a secular state. But the church in Nigeria has come under fundamental threats, existential threats, both from illegal people and from the system itself. Now, if you go back in history, you discover that a head of state, I think it was IBB, dragged Nigeria into OIC, Organization of Islamic Countries. Nigeria is not an Islamic country. Now, the Senate should deal with that. That is fundamental, not a matter of preaching in buses. The Senate should deal with that and pull Nigeria out of OIC. Again, the constitution that we have today was not made by the people of Nigeria. No, it was the military jackboot that was in power at that time that imposed that constitution on us. And it is skewed against the church in favor of a particular religion. in that constitution, Islam is mentioned hundreds of times. Anything Islam, Sharia and that. And the church is not mentioned once. Christianity is not mentioned once. And Christians in Nigeria are a little over 50% of the population. Now, that is a fundamental matter that the Senate should be dealing with, not a flippant thing about preaching in buses. So, and then again now, we are being attacked by various violent people, ISWAP, Boko Haram, Lakurawa, and all of that, all of which stem from Islam, and they are trying to forcefully make Nigeria an Islamic nation. They are targeting us, killing us in southern Kaduna, killing us in Plateau, killing us in Taraba, killing us in Benue, and they are making incursion into the south from Oyo State, from Kwara, from Oyo State, from Edo, and all of that. Now, this is fundamental. The Senate is the apex of the lawmaking process in Nigeria. They should be dealing with fundamental issues like that. They are not dealing with it. They are now tampering with something that is critical to our faith, stopping us from preaching in buses. When our master told us to go into all the world and preach the gospel everywhere, our fathers of old, the old apostles, they went everywhere and preach the gospel. Now, God told Philip in the book of Acts chapter 8 to join himself to the Ethiopian chariots. He said, join these chariots and preach to that man. And the man was a key man in Ethiopia. Philip obeyed and he preached to that man, and the man got saved. That's how Christianity came to Africa long before it came to Europe. Now, you are not telling us not to do that. The chariot of those days are the buses of today. I, as a person, have been preaching in buses since 1975. Several people have been blessed, their lives changed. Ministers of the gospel produced as a result of preaching in buses.
All right, Bishop.
Now, yes. So you are not telling us not to do it. We preach in buses.
Right.
So if they want to imprison us, let them come and arrest all of us. We are coming. We will preach in buses.
All right, Bishop.
They cannot stop us.
Yes, if
we realize that obey God. Yeah.
Yes, my apologies, Bishop. You've raised that point over and over. So the first point is you've mentioned the issue of, I think we've had you here on the program where you said you believe there's genocide. The government has pushed back to say there's no genocide. So there has been that back and forth. And then the issue, just a moment, Bishop, please, so that I can answer all of it at the same time. So that's on one hand. The other hand, they're saying that, I think Okpeyemi Bamidele, who is the Senate leader, says they did not bring this law. It's not the first time this law has been there. It's been there. So they just changed the itemization, I think, from item 37 to 40 something. So it's been there. A lot of Nigerians, they don't know it's been there. So that's on one hand. I'm talking about some of the pushbacks they've also brought. Now, the rationale behind this, I think they're also talking about this being distracting to the driver and some of the activities of the persons who preach in buses. So when you hear all of these pushbacks, how do you respond to it, Bishop?
Now, that is absolutely second thought. I've been preaching in buses since 1975. Up until now, there is no record of any distraction or any accident or any mishap as a result of preaching in buses. It's a targeted attack against the church. Now, if it's been in the statute before, thank you for bringing it out. Let's expunge it from our statute. Some other people of other faith, every Friday, they will block roads all across the country and disrupt traffic. They are not dealing with that. They are not dealing with us on issues that are bringing peace, that are changing lives, that are turning wicked people to become righteous people, that are turning positive to become chaste lady, that are turning robbers into becoming preachers. Things that are changing lives, that are blessing people, that are contributing immensely to the peace and welfare of individuals and the nation. They're not telling us not to do. It's something that God commanded us to do. So if it's been the statute before, it's time to expunge it from the statute, and it's time to revisit the Constitution. The Constitution favors a particular religion against us, the church. And apart from that, there's current pressure. Now, okay, take for example, the Catholic bishops went to visit Mr. President and they had discussion. And the man, Cardinal NASS, told him frank truth that Nigeria is bleeding. Are we not bleeding? Are we not bleeding in Benue? Are we not bleeding in Kaduna, Southern Kaduna? Are we not bleeding in Goza, in Borno State? Are we not bleeding in Taraba State? Are we not bleeding in Kwara? Are we not bleeding in Oyo State? So should anybody attack a Catholic bishop for saying that? That is obvious truth. And then he said, Nigeria needs economic pressure on them to be relieved. Is that not the truth? Now you are denigrating them, you are washing them down. That is unbecoming of a government that cares for the people. This appears like a government that is oppressing the church, and their pushback is not sufficient. They should expunge it from the statute. It's our fundamental right, and we are obeying the master. If you want to behead us for preaching the gospel, we are ready. If you want to imprison us for preaching the gospel, we are ready. If you want to make all the stadiums in Nigeria to become prisons, we are ready. We rather obey God than man. That is fundamental to our faith, and we're not going to surrender it. Not at all. Our fathers of old in the scripture, they were persecuted for it, they were in prison, they were killed, they were stoned. They didn't back down. No, and we will not back down. We will preach the gospel everywhere. Our Master, our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ commanded us. That's the only command he gave to the church. Yeah. And you are not saying we shouldn't preach the gospel. Expunge it from the statute. All right. And go beyond expunging it from the statute. Yeah. Go and review the constitution. The current constitution is not our constitution. Yes, so Bishop, the constitution, yes, the constitution that mentioned Islam again and again. Yeah. Bishop, Sharia again and again, and no mention of the church. Yes, we reject that constitution. I hate to break your flow of thoughts, my Lord Bishop, but because we have to squeeze in as many questions as possible, when you say behead all of us, the proposed penalty for people who perhaps flout that law is 50,000 naira. That law, according to the argument is from the Senate, has been there since 2007. I like the fact that you've brought in the conversation around the Catholic bishops going to meet Mr. President and all of that. So it means that the PFN, it looks like the PFN is standing side by side with the Catholic bishops led by Archbishop Matthew Ndagoso, who is also the Bishop of Kaduna Diocese as well. But there's the argument as to whether or not religious leaders should speak about politics or stay on the call from our Master Jesus on the pulpit. Bishop, that's the argument. But that argument is faulty. The Master told us to go into all the world and preach the gospel. And in Mark chapter 16 verse 20, the apostles, they went everywhere and they preached the gospel. That's what the scripture taught us. And I just mentioned in Acts chapter 8, God told Philip to join himself to the chariots of the Ethiopian eunuch, a high official of the Queen of Ethiopia at that time. And he preached the gospel to him, and the man got saved, and he got baptized, and then he took the gospel to Africa. So we are commanded not to preach in the church. No. To go out everywhere and preach the gospel to every creature. And by saying I'm siding with the Catholic bishop, the Church of Jesus Christ is one. There may be many denominations, but we have one faith, one Lord, one baptism. The church is one. If they attack the Catholic bishop, they are attacking the whole church. If they are saying we shouldn't preach the gospel, they are attacking the whole church. If we are being beheaded, we are being kidnapped, we are being targeted, and Christian genocide is going on, and they are not dealing with it, they are siding with the enemies of the church. If they are siding one particular religion, and it is mentioned several times in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria that is supposed to be a country that's supposed to be not biased against a religion, that's supposed to be a secular state, it is time to review the entire system. The system is skewed against the church. The constitution is skewed against the church.
Bishop, if I may come in, yes.
That is what the Senate should be dealing with, not a matter of preaching.
Bishop,
we will break that law. We dare the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We will obey God rather than man. We will break that law.
All right, Bishop, if I may come in, you made a couple of statements. Well, I don't know whether I've ever seen or heard anywhere where the Nigerian state said they support one religion over the other, because Section 10...
It's in the Constitution.
No, I understand what you're saying. Section 10 talks about the secular state of our nation, that no state of the Federation shall adopt any religion. I know that Sharia is mentioned about maybe tens of times in the Constitution, and Christianity was not mentioned.
It's over 100 times.
So we'll get to look at the data.
It's not mentioned once.
Yes, but where I'm going to with
that is what the Senate should be concerned about.
Okay, I understand.
The Senate should be concerned about giving Nigeria a constitution that is that takes care of all of us, that mentions all of us. It's either you mention all religion or you expand religion from the Constitution.
Bishop, yes, I think you've made that point a couple of times. I just wanted to put in context that no official pronouncement from the government to deciding of any religion. But your point is noted. I'm sure they are listening. And that's why we need to be everyone. When I say me, and we, I mean Nigerians, religious bodies, ethnic nationalities, everybody, political parties have to be part of the Constitution Amendment. But where I'm going to is what Kelly did ask, my colleague Kelly asked. I think what irked and generated a salvo and the back and forth between especially the spokespersons of the president and some of the supporters against the bishop is the fact that the issue of INEC, they made an appeal that the democratic space should be, fair to all, whether ruling or opposition. The president, in his remarks, had said all is fair in politics, which did not go down well with a lot of people, because you have the levels of power in the institution of state, and that can be misinterpreted, which can consider abuse of power and is almost an impeachable offense. But where I'm going to is, when I've listened to their part of the argument, it feels like what makes them uncomfortable, I mean the ruling party and the people in the presidency, that the bishop's position on the neutrality of INEC is on the assumption that INEC is already taking sides. And they said that is not correct, which is why the president said INEC is doing well, is neutral. So should the bishops or the church have commented on the neutrality or otherwise of INEC? Because that looks like the bone of contention, not necessarily the economy or security.
Now, comment on the neutrality of INEC is not a political comment, it's moral. Because INEC is supposed to be independent of any pressure from the presidency, because the president is a member of a party, a political party. So if the Catholic bishop says, Mr. President, INEC should be independent, that is speaking the truth to power. That is speaking the truth to power. If they are uncomfortable about that, it means there is a hidden agenda. I mean, if they are fair and INEC is independent, they just tell them and say, excuse me, Mr. Bishop, INEC is independent, our hands are clean. If they now say INEC should be independent and the presidency is reacting against that, it means INEC is not independent. And an INEC that is not independent cannot do justice to all Nigerians. INEC does not belong to a political party. No, INEC is supposed to regulate all political parties. So when the bishops are saying that, they are not getting into politics. No, they are just saying what is fair, what is just. They are speaking truth to power. And the government, if their hands are clean, they should be comfortable with that. The fact that they are pushing back, all right, it shows that something is not right. So, and the church, like I said, is one. If the Pentecostals are speaking, the church is speaking. If the Anglicans are speaking, the church is speaking. If the Catholic is, if you attack one, you attack all. And now the Senate should deal with all of that. The Senate should deal with the impartiality of INEC. They are not dealing with it. They are dealing with preaching buses, preaching in the buses. That is changing life, that is blessing people, and we have been doing for decades, and there have been no record of any accident or destruction. The Senate should rise above that. The Senate should deal with matters that are fundamental. We are being killed in Kaduna. We are being killed. We are shouting Christian genocide, Christian genocide. The Senate is not being the weight of their office to bear on that. They are now attacking us and saying we shouldn't preach the gospel. We will preach the gospel.
All right,
bosses everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, Bishop, it's interesting listening to you this morning. Maybe two questions in one. There are those who are saying that the reason why the church all of a sudden has found her voice is because perhaps the president is Muslim, the vice president is Muslim, and they have gone ahead to say, you know what, we're going to retain that ticket in 2027. So I don't know, perhaps if you have comments about that, because that's the belief in some quarters. My second question would be, Bishop, I know the scriptures would always say that prayer is the key. I mean, there are songs. Prayer is the key. There are songs. Prayer is the key. But Bishop, in terms of governance, I'm wondering what kind of conversations is the church trying to have with the government of the day and even previous governments? Because even the Senate is saying this was in our laws as far back as 2007. I believe that there's a level of strategic conversations and engagements the church should be having with governments of the day. There's even the part of lobbying as well. So I'm wondering, I know that prayer is the key, Bishop, but lobbying, strategic engagements should also be very essential to the church. What do you say, Bishop?
That's correct, and we are praying. In fact, we are pushing up prayer more than ever, because let me tell you, Kelly and your friends, the church is under pressure. Why should a nation where we have Muslims, Christians almost at equal number, why should we have Muslim tickets? But we're not making any issue about that, because 4 years ago we made noise about it, we spoke about it, we made press statement, we did albatoria, they didn't change, and we didn't want to waste our time on that. The parties are free to choose their candidates. Just let all candidates be fair to all. But all indices are showing that they are not being fair to the church. That Muslim ticket is one of it. The mention of Islam in the Constitution many times, and no mention of Christianity is one of it, and it's fundamental. The dragging of Nigeria into OIC by IBB, and it is not being reversed, is one of it. Then the targeted killing of Christians by various, numerous, many violent groups. You're talking of Fulani Asmen, you're talking of Boko Haram, you're talking of ISWAP, you're talking of Lakurawa, and all of them, they are shouting Islamic phrases before they execute, before they kill. Even currently, this week that is going on, killing is still going on in Benue, killing is still going on in Plateau. So the church is under pressure, and the system is not protecting us. The system is not speaking out for us. The the system rather is touching something that is very fundamental, and they're saying we shouldn't preach in buses. Now, the Senate should rise up and protect the church in Nigeria, because we are citizens of Nigeria. We are in millions. We are a little over half the population, and we are under pressure. When we said there is Christian genocide, they are not speaking on our side, and they are not acting on our side. They are denying it, and they are spending billions of our taxpayer money to go and organize lobby in America to promote the lie that there is no Christian genocide. Killings are still going on, and we're not going to stop until the killings stop. Now, we will talk to government if the government is ready to listen. Are they invited us for a discussion on it? Since we have been shouting, we are making moves, and we are meeting with brick walls. If they are not giving us opportunity to discuss, okay, why has the Senate not invited the church representative to speak about our accusation of Christian genocide? Is that not something major enough to engage the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? We said the church is not irresponsible. The church is made up of responsible leaders. We won't speak without facts. The facts are all over the place that the church is being targeted for genocidal elimination.
Bishop, now, just a moment, Bishop. My apologies. Well, just a moment, sir. Just a moment, Bishop. God, we're totally out of time, and I keep saying that they've always pushed back on the narrative of genocide, because the federal government will say both Christians and Muslims are killed, and that's a fact. Well, whether the issue of genocide or no genocide is always a heated debate at the end of the day. But where I'm going to with this, there are Christians in the National Assembly. Daniel Bwala, for instance, is a Christian from the northern Nigeria. There are Christians in the presidency. The wife of the president is a Christian. So, first, two questions in one, if you can answer them in 2 minutes, sir. First, as PFN, just like the Catholic bishop, try to engage with the president directly? Have you written and you've not been honored to get an invitation to, have some of this conversation? And then, isn't it time for the Christian community, for instance, to begin to, strategize in terms of lobbying in some of these, because lobby is part of the whole thing. If you're not comfortable with a law and you want to influence that law, you lobby that law in your own favor.
Now, we are working on that, all right, to lobby, to make a presentation at every quarters to the presidency, to the Senate, and we are making an attempt to reach Mr. President, and I hope, again, those are things I don't want to speak about publicly, about what is going on between us and the presidency. We won't speak about that publicly. We're making it. We're working on all that, but we are under pressure. We are speaking out. It's like the government is not hearing us. A responsible government should not be denying an accusation as heavy as Christian genocide. They should invite us to the table and listen to us. The facts are all over the place. Even channels, you reported recently the killings in Benin, killings again in Plateau, and it's been on and on and on. And all these killings are targeted at Christian communities. The killings of Muslims are going on, we agree, but that is the secondary killing. It is the Muslims that are supportive of everybody living and practicing religion, the one that are non-fanatical, that didn't agree with ISWAP, Boko Haram, Dakoawa, Fulani. Those are the ones that are being killed for not agreeing with them. The primary target is the church. The Muslims that are being killed are the liberal ones who feel everybody should live and practice their religion without molestation. And those that are violent didn't agree with their thinking, so they killed them secondly, because they didn't agree with their philosophy of wiping out Christians and turning Nigeria into an Islamic state, because that is their purpose, that's their goal. they want to make Nigeria an Islamic state. That is what the Senate should be concerned about. If such things are going on, 20 killed in Benin, 20 killed in Borno State, in Plateau, in Kaduna. The Senate should invite the church for a Senate that cares, should invite the church for a talk. Nigerians are being killed. You are sitting there, you are making evil law. We will break that law.
Bishop,
break it.
Bishop, we're totally pressed for time. But again, thank you. These are your opinions, and perhaps that's of the church and PFN. I'm sure the government of the day would also contest some of the things you said, because we know that Christians are killed, Muslims have also been killed. But thank you so much. Bishop Francis Waloke is the president, Sword of the Spirit Ministries. He's also the national president, Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria. Thank you indeed, and happy birthday to you in advance, Bishop.
Thank you. Have a good day. God bless you. And let the Senate stop the killings of Christians. Let them stop.
It's not the Senate that is killing Nigerians, Bishop.
Let them expunge that.
That point, Bishop.
Because we will not obey that law. We will not obey that law.
Bishop, the church should lobby. The church should lobby and engage. Thank you so much, Bishop Francis. We are looking for your time, as always, on the program. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. Well, this is the morning brief from the church to something that concerns whether you're a Muslim or Christian or traditionalist. That has to do with Nigeria's economy. We're back in just a moment. Please stay with us.